Okay, thank you, ladies, for joining us at the Confidence is Beautiful Summit. I am sitting here with Kimberly Brenner, and I'm so excited that you are here, Kim. Can I call you Kim, or do you prefer Kimberly?
Either way, that's fine.
Either way, I have an aunt named Kim, so I'm used to saying that. But thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited to talk to you because you're a relationship coach. And when we briefly spoke, it was just like you are such a giving person, like you with your knowledge. And just in a brief conversation with you, I gained so much from that. And so I think you're a blessing to this audience. And I can't wait to sort of dig in and talk about what it is that you help women with when you're coaching about their relationships. I know you're a best-selling author. You've got many books where you are talking about that relationship, the decision-making process, on do I want to stay in this relationship marriage? Do I want to leave? And you help women work through that. So it's something that, gosh, I mean, after my second marriage, we had a really tumultuous like first 6 years. And it was my second marriage thinking, oh, this will be better. I've learned from my first, but I was hitting like very much of the, similar problems. And what we found out through trial and error, and thank God we kind of came out on the other side, but it literally was just about communication. It was about really listening to each other and understanding each other's needs, and not saying that that is everyone's problem, but I'm just curious, like what you come across when you're coaching. Like, what's the most common thing that you see is at the bottom or at the root of maybe the issue in the marriage? And how do you help women get through that?
Well, first off, Bridget, thank you for putting this summit on because when women hear to be more confident, I
Hmm.
think, or love yourself, the question is, well, how do I do that? And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that today and through the rest of the summit, that the women that are watching the summit get a little taste of the how,
Hmm.
how to do
Right.
that.
Right.
Making a decision to get married. It's so interesting. When a man decides this is the woman that I can't be without, they tell me that a switch goes off in their brain where it's immediately, I love them. And there's no wishy-washy. It's immediate. Now, women are different.
Oh,
It's
really?
women take a little bit longer to trust the guy. So he has to prove himself and okay, that's fine. Next step, until finally for a woman, she's like, okay, I can surrender to him
Hmm.
and make him a happy man. And then they go get married.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is, like you said, that communication. How do we talk to each other? Yes, we love each other.
Hmm.
And then love is a language.
Yeah.
If you've ever read the book, The Five Love Languages, right?
Yes.
Love
Yes.
is a language. But oftentimes we don't understand the language of our partner because it'll be different than ours.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I always recommend that book
Hmm.
to people to learn. And here's the thing, you can go online, you can find almost anything online anymore. And you can read about it, you can watch it, you can discern what
Yep.
language you are.
Right.
And to have the confidence, almost like the drive to make a decision that I will become the wife or the be married person, to
Yeah.
learn how to be married. And I believe it starts with learning how to accept oneself. If we marry someone that they're going to fulfill us in any way, like I married them because they're going to keep me safe, this is a codependent relationship. And people
Hmm.
don't begin to recognize it. You
Hmm.
read a lot about codependency, and women will tell me, well, I'm not codependent. I make my own money. I have my own job. I have my own career. I said, yes, but why did you marry your husband?
Right. Right.
So he will keep me safe. I says, so turn it around. Keep him safe. Keep him safe. Have the confidence to keep him safe. And then he'll automatically keep you safe back if he's a man. So I want to interject something.
Interesting.
So I want to interject something. I refer a lot. to a man versus a boy. And
Yes.
I want women who are in a relationship. First of all, ladies, if you're dating a boy. This boy hasn't committed to
Okay.
you yet. He's sniffing around you, he's
Yep.
checking you out, he's trying to
Yep.
decide whether or not he's willing to give up being a boy, which is being selfish
Okay.
for you. And if
Okay.
he's willing to give up being a boy for you, that means you're very special to him. You're special. This is
Okay.
not high school anymore where the guy was special. Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
He's
Okay.
going through this whole, yeah, big decision, right, to change his
Yes.
whole life.
Yes. So it's important in the dating for women who are dating to ask this question when you're first dating, who do
Hmm.
you admire and why? And have the
Hmm.
confidence to find out if this man's values match
Hmm.
yours. So
Right.
if the man says that I value my mother who worked 3 jobs to take care of me, and you're somebody who wants to be a mom and stay at home, don't take a second date because he won't value you.
Ah,
Does that make
right.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
all
it's
of my
based.
girlfriends were able to go, okay, next, 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 until they found the man that their values matched
Right.
and who was willing to give up being a boy for them. So girls can also be girls, and we need to be women. And this is where confidence comes in.
Okay. Right.
A confident woman, knowing her own worth, will be able to say, this is not what I want.
Right.
And to say it in a way with love, not
Hmm.
demanding, not if you don't do it, I'm going to whatever.
Temper tantrum. Right.
Right, exactly. But to be able to communicate in a way that lets this person know if you want me in your life, this is who you need to be. And that might take, like you said, the first 5 or 6 years of communicating in a way. But I tell women if your husband is coachable, don't throw him back in the dating pool.
Agree. That's exactly why we're still together. That's right,
Exactly.
because he
Right.
was coachable. And when you talk about confidence, it makes sense because in the beginning, coming out of a really bad first marriage, I think my self-esteem was pretty low. And even though I was working through that, I got married probably a little too soon, wasn't totally ready because my confidence was low. And I think when your confidence is low, you don't even know what to ask for. You don't know how to express your needs necessarily because there's something kind of holding you back because of the self-worth. I'm not worthy of what I need, for this, the fulfillment I need in this relationship. And sometimes you don't even know what it is. And so that self-love, taking that time to really love yourself and know yourself, understand yourself to build that confidence so that you can then ask for what you need, right?
Yes.
And you're
Yeah.
confident in that.
You said something that's really important where we're in a relationship with someone and it doesn't work out and it changes our identity.
Yes.
It changes who we think we are. And I have a phrase for that. And that is, you don't get to tell me who I am. That's
Right.
my job.
Right.
You don't get to tell me who I am. But
Right.
unfortunately, a woman who's experienced a boyfriend who was a boy
Hmm.
and he cheated on her because he was a boy, and I wrote an article, Men Don't Cheat, Boys Do. So
Yep. True.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So you
true.
really have to know if you anyway.
Yep.
Uh,
Who you have
so
to know who you're married to exactly. Is it a boy or is it a man?
exactly. Yeah. And many of the women in my book, once they began to realize that this is as good as it's going to get,
Ah,
and this is not what I signed up for.
yeah.
The other thing that often happens too is a lot of women are on a spiritual journey these days,
Yeah.
and they're discovering new beliefs, new
Yeah.
understandings, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they get judged and criticized by their partner for it. And this creates a discord because it's hard to live with someone who is disparaging you,
Mm-hmm.
who is making fun of you. So the idea of am I in the right relationship is a lot of safety. Am I safe? Are they criticize me? You talked about self-love, and I want to address that. It's not about going to get your nails done or your hair done.
Mm-mm.
Here's my
Although
take.
that's fun and that helps.
Well, let's have fun
Yeah.
and be a girl, but the whole
Yep.
idea of loving oneself, what kills love, whether it's you
Mhm.
individually to yourself or with your partner, what kills love is three things: judgment, criticism, and blame. Judgment,
Yes.
criticism, and blame. When we start blaming our partner, we stop feeling warm feelings towards them. But the
Right.
same thing about us. If we blame ourselves, if we put ourselves down, if we start criticizing ourselves, if we start nitpicking the size of our hips, or we're having a bad hair day, or um, um, we can't accomplish something that we wanted to, and
Mm-hmm.
we have this self-talk of criticism, blame, we stop loving ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then so there's a correlation between I'm okay being me and confidence.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
I do think that when a woman is confident, they're treated differently. So instead of saying, oh, I don't like the way people are treating me, you can
Look at
change that.
inside, right? Look
Right,
at yourself
right,
as to why that's happening. Yeah.
right. So I created something called directional mantras many, many years ago. And I noticed that if you were to say, I am confident, your brain automatically, so ladies, if you're listening to this, think to yourself, I am confident. And for those of you who feel you're not, you'll start noticing that it's not true. Your brain will go for evidence and you won't have any.
Mm.
And it'll make you feel like you're lying to yourself.
Like, why should I feel confident? Yeah. It's like,
Correct. Yeah. Like that, I failed at that, or I got cheated on, or people laughed at me at my presentation. Again, they're telling me who I am. They're telling me that I'm not any good.
right.
They're telling me I'm not worthy. But we don't know to think to ourselves, you don't get to tell me who I am,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know how to shift it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
created directional mantras. And what you do is you take the adjective, it has to be an adjective. So confident is an adjective, and you Yodaize it. You put the I am at the end of it. And when you say confident,
Confident I am. Mm-hmm.
yes, yeah,
And say that to yourself
yes.
every day. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's so interesting is that in an instant, your brain starts to think as a confident person, and behavior follows what you're thinking.
Ah, wow.
So directional mantras will change your behavior in less than a week.
So say it for a week,
Yeah,
and
well,
I'm
you
going to be
can,
confident at the end of the week.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is, do we need to be confident 24/7? Maybe not, but to say it when we need it, to say it when we need it. So you
Right.
have to give a presentation at work.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Confident I am.
Exactly.
And all of a
Yes.
sudden you're calm and you get up on stage and you're just relaxed and you're just
Give
bantering with your
yourself the
audience.
gift, yeah,
Yeah,
before when you need it.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
I love that.
Lovable I am is another one,
Hmm. Hmm.
and enough I am.
And when you believe it, when you truly start to believe that, especially that lovable one,
Yeah,
when you're in a relationship, lovable I am, worthy I am.
right.
I feel like energetically that person is going to feel that from you. You're gonna radiate that truth.
Yes. So this
So that's
is
interesting.
so we may have to put an explicit on this next story I'm going to give you. Many years ago, I was at a workshop and we had to write down everything we were thinking. So
Okay.
on a break, when we would hand in our little notepad to the facilitators, and on a break, I went to the female facilitator and I said, "Okay, I don't understand something." When I look at that guy across the room, it's like, ugh, like one of those things, like, ugh, get away from me, right? But when I'm sitting next to him, I feel horny. What is going on?
Yeah.
And she starts laughing. She says, "Well, the only thing on his mind is sex." And I go,
And,
"Wait a second. Wait a second.
and so it was affecting
So are
you.
you telling me when I sit next to him, I can feel what he's thinking?" And she says, "Well, that's what this training is about, to begin to recognize your thoughts may not belong to you. What you're feeling may not belong to you." So that shifted my entire world. From that moment on, I realized I would always ask myself, this feeling I'm having, who does it belong to? Who does it
Wow.
belong to? Because it may not belong to me.
Wow. Wow.
This is how we affect each other, and why
I
we
know.
are secret. No, no, we're
But
not secret.
it's true because it's like, you live in a family. If there's one person in a really foul mood,
Yeah.
like you literally walk in and you feel the cloud. You
Yes.
feel the darkness almost, and it affects everyone in the room.
Mhm.
So, when we talk about confidence, if I truly feel confident in who I am, it's going to affect everyone in the room and affect how they're going to react to you or interact with you, right?
What I also discover too is when I am in the energy of confident,
Yeah.
women who aren't don't like me.
There is that. You could get the repelling, and then
Yes.
that's a good thing, right? Because you are
Yes.
getting rid of the people that you don't really want to be around.
Thank
It's
you, God.
a person handling it for you. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
very easy way to like separate,
So you almost have to put
That's
a
true. You're
warning sign on being confident, that confident and self-love may not improve your other relationships.
And that's okay. And that's what we also we should be confident enough to be okay with that, right? And to
Yeah.
be able to remove those negative relationships from our life. And that's
And
probably part of this whole decision-making process about
yeah.
being in the relationship. Because as you improve yourself,
Yes.
right? Either that's going to attract your mate to you or it could repel them. And that could be your the catalyst.
I'm
So
watching as the whole coaching industry
yeah,
is making women having amazing careers.
yeah.
They're in the limelight.
Hmm.
They're being pulled in a lot of directions,
Hmm.
and husbands, and I'm watching as a lot of them are getting a divorce.
Hmm.
And I realize that they've not had a conversation with their husbands to make their husbands feel not left behind.
Oh, interesting.
And and I've heard coaches say that I'm going to retire my husband.
Right.
But
I've heard
but
that.
men need to feel like a man, not a boy. So they need
Yes.
to contribute. Ladies,
Yes.
men need to know they are contributing to you.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
if you're a very successful coach and you're making a lot of money, let them contribute to you in other ways. In other ways. I had this
By
one couple,
service, yeah, doing something around the house, like
I
be of
had this
service.
I had this one couple where she was the very, very, very wealthy person and he wasn't.
Mm.
And what she did is she opened up a checking account with his name, and she would siphon money and put it in there and say it's your money. And he used the money to take her on trips and go out to dinner and wine and dine her and make her feel like a princess. And that
Interesting.
was all she needed. She wanted a man to do that, and money was standing in the way. And
Yeah.
so she just siphoned money and put it over here, and he used that money
Date
take care
her.
of, to
Yeah.
take care of her. Yes.
Yes.
So there's all kinds of ways.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. And
So
how important is that, like to continue to date your mate? Because sometimes that's what's getting in the way too, is we get all caught up in everything else, right? and we stop dating each other.
As long as the woman has let go of resentments and the man let go of
Mm,
upsets. Because if you have a woman who's resentful and a man who's upset and you go on a date, you have two people that aren't talking to each other.
they got their phone out.
Exactly. Whenever I go out to dinner and I see couples, I can always tell, oh, they ain't not even looking at each other, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, no, I mean, so what is like the most common issue that you see in the relationship? Is it that self-worth issue? Is it communication?
Um, we only see what matches what we believe.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. A
Yeah.
couple were married for 5 years and she wants a divorce and he
Okay.
doesn't. And I said, well, why do you want a divorce? What problem are you solving by a divorce? And she says, well, he doesn't care about me. Can you hear that as a belief?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
belief. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
That's
care
her
about me.
perception. Okay.
Correct. And I said, well, could you tell me what he did that made you believe that? And she gave an example. The first 5 months of their marriage, he made a contract about something and he didn't include her. And so she interpreted it as you didn't care about me. And ironically enough, the husband agreed. The husband says, you're right. We were just newly married and I didn't think of her and I should have, and I'm sorry, and all of that stuff. But I do care about her. And I said, well, why don't you tell her all the things that you do that you care about her?
Right.
And he started naming all of them off. And I'm over there thinking, shoot, I'd marry you. You're pretty,
Right.
you know.
She's
And
honing in on that one thing.
I know, and she looks at him and says, I don't remember any of that.
Mm.
So all of these things that he was doing for her,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she's like oblivious, blind to it. And he looked at me, he says, how could that be? And I says, because none of it matched her belief. She could only see your behavior that matched what she
Through that
believed.
tunnel vision.
Yes.
Wow.
So you have to
So,
be very
yeah.
mindful. What do you believe about your spouse? So women who've been cheated on, they believe all men are
Oh,
cheaters.
yeah. Right. Right.
Now they're looking for evidence and behavior that he's doing that will
Mhm.
match their belief, and they won't believe anything else that doesn't.
Wow. This is so true. Because a lot of times, too, the belief about a man or men in general can come from how our father treated us.
Yes.
And so it can stem from childhood. So if you think, like my dad was very unemotional, well, men just are checked out. They're unemotional. They don't care, right?
Right.
I could have that belief. Yeah.
And then we get to create our reality to
Creator.
make our belief right.
Yes. Yeah, because we always have to be right. Of course.
I
That's
love the
one of the
one,
problems in a relationship too. Everybody has to be right. And then you're like,
yeah. I watch as they have a self-fulfilling prophecy. Men,
yes,
men will leave me.
self-sabotage. Yes.
Men believe me. Men have always left me. My father left me. My boyfriends left me. So men will leave me and they will actually behave in a way that forces this person
Yeah.
to
Right.
give
And then
them what
leave.
they believe, to give
Right.
them what they believe. So we are constantly creating our reality. So how does that translate to having confidence? Confidence to be able to face our own belief structure that what we're creating, confident. Don't run away from it. Don't hide from it.
Right.
Don't pretend that the world that I created is perfect. Because
Right.
in relationships, we find out where our blind spots are.
Yeah, actually we do, right? We understand as long as we're paying attention, we'll figure out where our weaknesses are in a relationship. They'll become totally obvious. So,
Yeah.
yeah, part of
So,
that self-love is digging in, right? And understanding who we are so
yeah,
that we can become a better person. Yep. Awesome. And you offer a free gift.
I
I
do.
know that, yeah. So you're tell us what it is that you're offering the audience.
So it's for women. And I've had a few men listen to it too and call me up and say, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I understand what's going on better." So that was nice. But it's 5 days to a more responsive husband. So it's an audio program, and you'll get it over 5 days where I'm talking to you about how to change your voice so that he'll hear you, how to say certain things so that he won't get defensive. I know it's manipulation, but it's a good manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
do I do
but it
believe in
goes
that.
back to that. It does go back to like that communications, learning how to talk to each other,
Yeah.
how to ask for what we need, right? So yeah, no, it
So let
is.
me ask you something, Bridget.
Yeah.
You talked about how you and your husband, after many years of butting heads, what one piece of advice did you get that made things better between you and your husband?
What advice did I get? Ooh. I think it was more around, I think part of it was the belief system that I had. I thought that men didn't respect my independence and wanted to control me.
Okay. Then you were
So I
filtering.
went into that relationship with that mindset.
Yes.
And it was through a lot of arguing and yelling. And we finally somehow got to each other. Like we finally started listening to each other. So he finally understood where I was coming from. And I finally understood where he was coming from as far as no, he doesn't want to control me. What he's doing, I'm perceiving as control. It had nothing to do with control.
Right.
So that's why I say it was trial and error. I didn't really have direct coaching. It was literally like somehow miraculously the light bulb went on, I think, in both of us.
Wow.
And we had to actually separate for us, I think, to really appreciate each other. And then we were able to come back and actually have a discussion and work through what our issues were and our false, right? Our false self-talk.
Yeah, this is
So
interesting.
we did it on our own. It's a miracle.
This is interesting because the advice that I give for should I stay or go,
Yeah,
I tell women to make the first decision and see what happens,
that's what
and
we
then
did.
and then
Yes.
make the second one. So the first decision, if the woman
Mhm.
says goodbye, I'm
Yep.
gonna leave
I'm,
you,
mhm.
and he wakes up
Yes.
and comes back and is willing to be coachable, the woman can make the second decision, which is let's stay. But
Yes.
what happens? She makes the first decision where they separate, and he's off dating other girls and he's not interested, like that. Her second decision is to leave him.
Yep.
And then this way she knows at 100% I'm making the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, coaches that are talking about stay or go is they're trying to coach them into making one decision. I want them to make two. First decision, they own it. And then the second decision, they see what happens with him.
And then so their second decision is based on that reaction
Correct,
and
because
what's
women are
happening. Okay.
making their decision based on whether or not he's coachable, whether or not he's a man. Is he willing to be a man? Because women believe what they hear, they should believe what they see. Let me
Agree.
so let
Agree.
me let me give you an example. You're at a party and he's talking to a woman, and you go up to him and you say, "What was that about?" And he goes, "Nothing, we were just talking." And the woman goes, "Oh, okay." But he sees you talking to a man, and he walks up to you and says, "What was that about?" And you say, "Well, we were just talking." You know what he says? "Yeah, right. I saw you. I saw how you were talking to him. Don't tell me it was just talk." So men are basing their interpretation on what they're seeing, and women are basing their interpretation on what they're hearing.
Oh my gosh, because I've always known like men are more visual like than women. We're very auditory. So that's craziness. I never thought of it that way.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
I tell women, write down
What
what
is
you're
he
seeing.
doing? What is he doing?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
no,
then,
that's true.
yeah,
That's why we can be bamboozled a lot into
we
relationships.
can be
We
talked
don't see
into
the
it.
red flags.
That's why this whole idea of should I stay or go? I watched as so many women were talked into staying when it was a benefit to the husband, but it wasn't a benefit to the wife.
I agree. That's very true. I think that like with us, I know I contributed to that rift between us because of my belief system. So when you talked about that, it is very true. It's very self-sabotaging. So sometimes separation too allows us to heal what we have to heal, the parts of ourselves, because sometimes we have to do that alone, don't you think? Um,
I,
Sometimes being in that relationship distracts us from that work because we're always so concentrated on what they're doing. And so when you like sever and you know what I mean, then you have to live with yourself. So that was great. That was a great healing process. So
yeah,
sometimes leaving is necessary. And like you said, we'll see what happens, right?
yep,
But
yeah,
everybody's different, every situation's different. And you
yes,
help women figure that out, figure out
yep.
what situation they're in. And your free gift is going to be amazing because that's actually going to help teach us how to speak to our husbands and get what we need from that relationship. And I love that because that's what I needed at the beginning of that relationship. So where
And
were you?
you know, that is one of my goals. I am putting together a training for newlyweds to
Okay,
teach them communication skills.
love
Because
that.
if I had every time I tell people I'm a marriage counselor, they say, "Where were you 5 years
Where
ago?
were you? Yeah,
Where were
yeah,
you?"
yeah,
And they don't want to go to therapy, they don't want to go to marriage counseling, but
yeah.
they do want to learn a skill. And so I'm going to teach them a skill,
The
how to talk.
tools.
Okay?
Yes, I love it. Yes, because yes. Oh my gosh. So that's amazing. And so if
Thank you.
anybody's interested in that, I hope that you look Kimberly up and we're going to provide all your information. Thanks so much. You
Thank
are
you.
amazing. And I
Thanks
love
for
these
the,
mantras. You guys remember your mantras, right? Because that's a really good habit to start applying to your life. All
yes.
right, everybody. We will see you next
Bye.
time. Bye, guys.
Bye.